Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a legendary Fisherman deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an extremely nostalgic deck based around Mako's awesome boss monster, the legendary Fisherman. I've included all sorts of spicy tech cards in this build for you guys, so without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name scratched for every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of the original legendary Fisherman. This card is an awesome 3-of in the build that has the ability that while Umi is on the field, this card is unaffected by spell effects and cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly, which is a really cool ability about this card. And if you have your legendary Ocean on your side of the field, it will make this card a level 4, so you can just normal summon it out to your side of the field without tributing, which is really nice. We then play 3 copies of the Legendary Fisherman 2. The Legendary Fisherman 2 is great in this build as a 2-of because it has the ability this card's name becomes a Legendary Fisherman while on the field or in the graveyard, and while Umi's on the field, this card is unaffected by other monster effects, and if this face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while in its owner's control, you can add a level 7 water monster from your deck to your hand, which is great to be able to search out cards like your copy of the Legendary Fisherman 3. The Legendary Fisherman 3 is our main boss monster we're summoning out all the time, and this card is absolutely crazy. It cannot be normal summon or set, it must be special summoned from your hand by attributing 1 the Legendary Fisherman, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. And when this card is special summoned, you can banish all monsters that your opponent controls, and also this card cannot attack this turn. And it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. Also, it's unaffected by spell and trap effects, and once per turn, you can return as many of your opponent's banished cards as possible to their graveyard, and if you do, the first battle or effect damage your opponent takes this turn becomes doubled, which is crazy to help you just go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Ocean Dragon Lord kairyu-shin, which is another one of Mako's boss monsters retrained into a crazy powerful boss monster that while Umi is on the field, each player can only control 1 face-up non-water monster, and if a player controls 2 or more, they must send some to the grave, so they only control 1. And during your main phase, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 Umi, kairyu-shin spell or trap, or sea stealth spell or trap, which is a really cool ability to help us get out our copies of the Legendary Fisherman. We then play 3 copies of Electric Jellyfish. Electric Jellyfish is super helpful in this build because this card is actually a negate, which is really cool, and has the ability you can send a copy of Umi from your hand deck or face up from field to grave to special summon a water monster from your hand, and when your opponent activates a monster effect or a spell effect while Umi is on the field, quick effect, you can negate that effect. Then you can make this card gain 600 attack and defense points permanently, which is a really cool ability. We then play a single copy of Mega Fortress Will. Mega Fortress Will is really good in this deck as a 1-of because this card is very easy to bring out to your side of the field, and it has the ability if Umi's on the field, you can activate this effect that your water monsters can attack directly this turn, helping you OTK your opponent. And during your opponent's battle phase, quick effect, you can target 1 monster opponent controls and destroy it, and if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can either add to your hand or special summon a water monster from your deck, which is a really cool ability, but it has to be a water warrior monster, meaning it works really well with the Legendary Fisherman. We then play 2 copies of Warrior of Atlantis. Warrior of Atlantis is great in this deck as a 2-of because it has the ability you can discard this card to the grave to add a Legendary Ocean from your deck to your hand, which is the main way we're going to be using our Legendary Ocean and Umi in the deck to be able to summon out a Legendary Fisherman to reduce the level of it down by 1. And this card is just really good in the deck overall as a 2-of. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is really good in the deck as a 1-of to be able to search out a Legendary Ocean. We then play a single copy of Armored XZ. Armored XZ is very important in the deck as a 1-of to be able to work with our Armored XZ monsters that we have in the extract, with the ability to let you target a face-up monster that you control and an XZ monster in your graveyard, and equip that monster from your graveyard to that monster on the field, and that has the equipped spell card with the ability that you change the equipped monster's attack to this card's attack, the equipped monster gains this card's attribute, and at the end of the damage step, if the equipped monster attack, you can send this equipped card to the graveyard, and the attacking monster can make a second attack in a row, which is great to help you OTK. You can play a single copy of Sea Stealth 2. Sea Stealth 2 is really good in the deck as a 1-up, because this card's name becomes Umi while on the field or in the graveyard, and your opponent cannot target water monsters that you control with non-water monster effects. And at the end, or at the start of the battle phase, you can special summon from your hand or graveyard a monster that mentions Umi or a water null monster in defense position, but destroy it during the end of the battle phase, which is great to bring out your copy of Mega Fortress Whale to your side of the field with this card's ability. We can play a single copy of Instant Fusion and 2 copies of Ready Fusion. These are really good in the deck to be able to bring out your copy of Sea Monster or Rare Fish so you can go in for XZ plays, which is really good in this build. We then play 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Foolish Burial Goods is good. This card is great to be able to send your copy of Ice Barrier to the graveyard so you can get some searches, which is just really good about this card. We then play 3 copies of Fish Sonar. Fish Sonar is amazing as a 3-up because this card lets you add a level 7 or lower monster from your deck to your hand that mentions Umi or is a water normal monster, which is a really cool ability to add your copies of your cards from your deck to your hand, and this card is basically just Rhoda for the deck. We then play 3 copies of a Legendary Ocean. A Legendary Ocean is so important in this deck as a 3-up because this card has the ability to becomes Umi always, which is insane, and all water monsters lose a level in your hand and on your side of the field, which is just really good to be able to do because it helps you normal summon cards out like kairyu-shin without tributing because it makes them level 4, and it drops your copy of your Legendary Fisherman down to level 4 so you can normal summon it out to your side of the field as well, and it also gives all water monsters 200 attack and defense points, which is really nice. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is really good as a 3-up in the build, just to help us dig into the deck, especially since we don't need everything in our extra deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Full Armored XZ. Full Armored XZ is great as a 1-up trap in the deck to work with our Armored XZ cards, and this card is just really good to be able to set to your side of the field, and it's just an awesome card overall. We then play a single copy of kairyu-shin's Dark Reef. kairyu-shin's Dark Reef is a really insane 1-up in the build that's easily searchable, that has the ability to send a face-up Umi you control to the graveyard to special summon up to 2 monsters with different names from your hand and or deck that mention Umi or water null monsters in defense position, which is a really cool ability. I love that about this card, that just helps you swarm the board to OTK your opponent. We then play 2 copies of Ice Barrier. Ice Barrier is really good to be able to send to the graveyard with your copy of Foolish Burial Goods, and then banish this card to be able to send a level 5 or higher water monster from your deck to the grave, and then add a water monster from your graveyard to your hand, which is just really good at helping you get to the exact cards that you need. We then play 2 copies of Sea Stealth Attack. Sea Stealth Attack is great in this deck as a 2-of because this card has a really cool ability that when this card is activated, you can activate a copy of Umi from your hand or graveyard, and also has the ability that while Umi is on the field, this card gains the following effects: that once per turn, you can banish a water monster that you control, and until the end phase of this turn, face-up spells and traps you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And at the start of the damage step, if your water monster whose original level is 5 or higher battles an opponent's monster, destroy that opponent's monster, which is a great ability. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of Full Armored Dark Knight Lancer. Dark Knight Lancer is great in this deck as a 1-of because once per turn, you can also XZ summon this card using a rank 5 or 6 XZ monster you control, and you transfer its materials to this card. It gains 300 attack for each material and equip card it has, and once per turn, you can target an XZ card in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. And once per turn, if an equip card becomes equipped to a monster you control except during the damage step, you can attach 1 monster your opponent controls to this card as a material, which is great to be able to work with our Armored XZ cards that we play in the main deck to be able to get those effects to go off. We then play a sealed copy of Full Armored Crystal Zero Lancer. Crystal Zero Lancer is really good in this deck because you can also XZ summon this card using a rank 5 water monster that you control, which is just really cool to be able to just make this card extremely easily, and it comes out absolutely massive. We then play a sealed copy of XZ Armor Fortress. XZ Armor Fortress is really good as a one-of, but it has the ability, once per turn, you can also XZ summon this card using a rank 3 or 4 XZ material, XZ monster you control, and you transfer all the materials to this card. It cannot be used as a material for an XZ summon while it has any materials, and once per turn, you can also detach up to 2 materials from this card and add Armored XZ cards with different names from your deck to your hand equal to the number of detached materials, which is a really cool effect for this card to have. We then play a single copy of XZ Armor Torpedo. XZ Armor Torpedo is good as a one-of in this build, especially since we're dropping our monsters' levels down, which is really cool about this card. It cannot attack unless it has materials, and you detach 2 materials from this card to draw a card, which is a really good effect. We then play a single copy of Stealth Kragen. Stealth Kragen pops cards on the field and does half of the damage to your opponent, which is really cool because all face-up monsters on the field become water, and once per turn during your main phase quick effect, you can destroy a water monster that your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack that monster had on the field, doing burn damage to the opponent. We then play a single copy of Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is awesome at locking down the graveyard. One copy of Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark is awesome at helping you bring out your copy of Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome is awesome because this card is a negate, which is really nice. One copy of Nightmare Shark because this card can attack your opponent directly, helping you make a copy of Zeus. Speaking of Zeus, we do play a single copy of Zeus, which is really nice at board wiping the field. One copy of Typhon because we can make it, and it just belongs in just about any deck. One copy of Dragite because we do play Sea Monster, which is a tuner to help us bring this card out as a spell trap negate. One copy of White Aura Whale. White Aura Whale is great because this card does require water monsters to make this card, but if this card is Synchro Summon, you destroy all monsters that your opponent controls in attack position, helping you go in for game. And then finally, for our instant and ready fusion targets, we're playing a single copy of Sea Monster, which is really good because this card is a tuner, and a single copy of Rare Fish to be able to bring out to our side of the field to make our different plays, which is just really cool about these cards. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a legendary Fisherman deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's really fun to be able to play. It's absolutely crazy how easy it is to OTK your opponent with, and it's really cool being able to play cards that was played by Mako, which is just such a cool character in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.